after the class. Thank you, Susie, for letting
You're
me
welcome.
know. I'm so sorry to hear this news. Okay, we are going to start Shabbat Shalom. We are going to start with Tefillah. Tefillah makes warm our heart and our soul. Let's start with a Hasidic nigun, just to start, and then we are going to pray together. Just follow me. It's a very nice nigun, and the melody is very simple. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai. Let's open our Sidurim on page 186. The first things that we are doing in the morning, it's to thank, and it's a wonderful action. It's a way to discover that we are alive and we recognize God as our creator. Let's say together, let's pray together. Modeh ani lefanecha melech chai vekayam shechezarta bi nishmati bechemla raba emunetecha. I offer thanks to you, ever living sovereign, that you have restored my soul to me in mercy. How great is your trust. Let's open the Sidur on page 188. Kol haneshama te'alelia, hallelujah. Let all that breath praise God, hallelujah. Kol haneshama te'alelia, hallelujah. It's like a mantra. Kol haneshama te'alelia, hallelujah. Kol haneshama te'alelia, hallelujah. And then we are going to page 192. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Israel. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Israel. We continue now on page 196. We are going to close this. The door is a little noisy here. Oh, there are some people here. Just 1 minute. There are people in the gate. They're coming back.
Hey, how you doing? You're good. Where's everybody today?
Sorry. We're here. Page 196. Elohai, Elohai, Neheshamam, Shenatata bi Tehoraim. Elohai, Elohai, Neheshamam, Shenatata bi Tehoraim. Ata berata, ata yetzarta, ata nefachta bim. Beata meshamra, meshamra bekirbi. Elohai, Neheshamam, Shenatata bi Teorahim. Page 198. We are going to pray Birkot HaShachar. Nisim Bechol Yom for daily miracles. And dear Jim, the way that we are praying, each one of us is going to read one paragraph. You can read in Hebrew, you can read in English, you can sing. The way that you decide will be fine. Bless you. Alan, do you like to start?
Sure. Shalom Ton, Resik Ba Binah Ahavtil Ben Yom Uben Lai.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, nokech ivrim.
Amen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Amen. Page 200.
Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam, nokech haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, המקים מצד גבר. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten laya'ef koach.
Amen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, המעביר שינה מעיני ותנומה מאהביי. 202. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben horim.
Amen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שעשני ישראל. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Israel b'tifara.
Amen. Let's pray together. Let's read together on page 204, the first paragraph. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לעסוק בדברי תורה. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who allow us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah. We continue a very nice reading, a very nice prayer on page 206. Dr. Jim, I invite you to read in English. These are things
that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's continue on page 214 with Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, Tov leodot laAdonai, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשי ידיך רנן, מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני מאוד, עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. Page 218, Psalm 150. Alleluia וקודשו, Alleluia ברכיהו, Alleluia בגבורותיו, Alleluia קרוב גודלו, Alleluia ותקע שופר, Alleluia נבל וכינור, Alleluia, 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 tofu machol, Alleluia, minim viugav, Alleluia, צלצלי שמם, Alleluia, צלצלי תרועה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, כל הנשמה תהלליה. Alleluia, 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 Alleluia. Very good. We are going to now open our Torah. This is just an introduction to prepare our hearts for the Torah study. We have here Parashat Vayeshev. Let me just I just looking for this to let me see.
Yep.
Which page you said? 243. Okay. Very good. Vayeshev. Okay, let me just give an introduction to this parasha. First of all, we need to think about when we are thinking about the people of Israel, we need to think first of all in a family. And when we are talking about a family, we have sometimes problems, troubles, we have discussions. And when we are talking about relationship between brothers, still nowadays it's not easy. Still nowadays there are many families where brothers fight, where brothers don't talk, when don't have relationship. Sometimes it's very difficult to forgive a brother, but he's still a brother. And sometimes they need to live under the same ceiling. They need to share, and they are going to share forever, the same parents, and they are going to be perhaps living in the same city. But there are problems. There are problems, and sometimes we can solve the problems, sometimes it's more difficult, and all depend the problem. But we need to understand that they're still brothers. And relationship between people, it's not easy. Sometimes it's very difficult. The relationship with other people, because they have other traditions, other I don't know, other language, other food, different holidays, different calendars. But when we have and when we are in the same family, we need to understand. And there is another point that it's very important. When one brother is smarter than the others, perhaps it's a problem of jealous, okay? He's smarter than me, he's more appreciated than me in the society, in the different cycles. And the relationship with the brothers, it's not easy. When we study the story of Israel, appear very strong the name of Joseph, and the relationship was not easy. And we can. This is what happened in this parasha. Really, it's very hard. Sometimes we have some thoughts that are good to share with others, and sometimes it's better not to share some thoughts because you can create problems. Sometimes you can have a dream and you can share the dream with others, and perhaps can be very inconvenient for you to share the dream because the others are going to hear things that they don't expect or they are not good for them. And we have here this situation. We have here a situation that we have a brother, and through the dream, this brother can see, or through the dream, what is a dream, in fact? What is a dream? How we can describe a dream in this case? The dream can show us what, for example?
Our secret desires.
Okay,
Our
secret desires,
worries.
worries, ambition. What else? Jason, if you like to say something, just open your mic.
Well, there are two types of dreams, right?
Okay.
Or more than one. Two types of dreams. I mean, you have the dreams when you're sleeping,
Yes,
but then it's your dreams of in reality. For example, you probably have dreams of Temple Bethel growing
of course,
bringing in more people.
of course.
And each of us have our own dreams. And so the dreams that we have at night, one thing, the dreams we have during the day are another. And when those dreams, as in the case of Joseph, are expressed, his ambitions or what he sees as I don't know if the term soothsayer would be appropriate, being that he can foresee the future, can be very unsettling.
Can we receive a revelation through a dream?
Sure.
Perhaps it's not our dream, it's like we can see a revelation of God God tried to send a message through the dream.
Biblically speaking, yes.
Yes. Okay. It's also biblical research through the dream. And you know that many stories that we read in the Tanakh, not just in the Torah, in the Tanakh, some of them can be considered a dream. Sometimes we can read many interpretations about a specific issue, about a specific dream, about a specific story. And some people said it was not a real story, it was a dream. And through this dream, the characters find a solution, or they find a way, or they know better what to do and how to speak, what to say. There are some stories that are very difficult to understand in the Torah. We read recently about the dream of Jacob. Yes, a couple of weeks ago, Sulam Yaakov. We discussed the appropriate name, if it was the stairs of Jacob or not. Ladder. Okay. What other dreams do you remember from the Torah? Do you remember any other dream?
Well, later there's the dreams of Pharaoh,
Joseph.
and Joseph interprets dreams.
Yes. Yes.
About Jacob.
As well as
Yeah, Jacob.
around the,
Okay. Jacob dreams. Yes.
well, also, I mean, within this, with the winemaker and the baker
Yes.
in
Yes. And really, sometimes it's better not to know the dream, because the final was terrible. I prefer not to dream that I'm going to be killed, for example, in one case. And sometimes it's better when you don't understand the dream, or
Right.
there is not other who is coming to explain the dream.
Right.
Do you remember your dreams?
Not always.
How you wake up when you remember that you had a dream, but you don't remember the dream?
Yeah.
Are you upset
It's back here.
of it or not?
Depends on the dream.
Depend of the dream. Okay. Then it's clear in this introduction that we have different kind of dreams. We can interpret it. Sometimes we can understand. Sometimes can be in favor, or sometimes can be against us. Sometimes it's convenient to share the dream, and sometimes it's convenient to take this dream as a secret. Yes, just for us. And what I trying to show you, that it's something really normal to have a dream. Okay, but here in this case, it's a resource to understand what is going to come in the story, and the relationship between brothers, and the future of the people of Israel. Also, the fight between Jacob and the angels, some people consider that it was a dream. Some people know he was hurt in his body, but if it was a dream, can you be hurt in your body? Okay, there are many ways, but what I trying to show, and this is once again, and I repeat every time that I'm studying, this is the way that I like the text. It's a real text. It's a real text with things that happen real with people. We can understand better what is a dream, because also we have dreams. Let's start with the reading. We are, if you don't have the book, you can try to open online chapters, Breshit, chapter 37, verse 1, Genesis 37, verse 1. And here And here we start. Any volunteer to read in English? Page 244. Please, Wendy.
Now Jacob was settled in the land where his father had resided, the land of Canaan. This then is the line of Jacob. At 17 years of age, Joseph tended the flocks with his brothers. As a helper to the sons of his father's wives, Bilhah and Zilpah. And Joseph brought bad reports of them to their father. Now Israel loved Joseph best of all his sons, for he was the child of his old age, and he had made him an ornamented tunic. And when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of his brothers, they hated him, so that they could not speak a friendly word to him.
Just 1 minute. We have here a description, yes, and here it's one element that will be very, very important. Kutonet pasim, we say in Hebrew. It's special clothes, and these special clothes will be very important in this story because this shows us how was the relationship between Jacob and Joseph. We need to remember also here an important information that we have one father with many mothers. Okay, and this is also a very important information to consider because try to imagine how was the relationship between the father and the mother, or the husband and the wife. Perhaps the husband loved more one wife than other, or the concubine, and this can also reflect in the relationship with the kids. Okay, I love more one, and we need to understand that it was not forbidden at that time, the polygamy society. It was really very, very normal, the polygamy, and but we know that Jacob loved Rachel, okay, more than others. And we need to remember the story that Leah came before, and he became her first wife. He was working 7 years plus 7 years, and then the concubines, and then the problems to be pregnant. And then, but we have here a big family. But we have here one information on verse 3. V'Israel ahav et Yosef mikol banav. We have here that now Israel loved Joseph best for all his sons, for he was the child of his old age. And we have here also an important information. And we can see that this situation perhaps happened in many families. Yes, perhaps the husband have more than one marriage, and then it's coming the little child when he's older, and the relationship is really different. The father have more time to spend with this little child, and he didn't the same time to spend with the older kids. He was working and he was very active. Now he's retired. Just try to imagine the situation. But we have here a real situation. And V'Israel ahav et Yosef mikol banav. And he had many brothers, but he loved more than the other. This is also something that we discuss many times here. Can a father love more one child than the other?
Favorites are not supposed to, but we have favorites. And it's
Yes.
usually the youngest one, but all the other brothers say it's the most spoiled.
You know,
The little one.
one of the things I found interesting in studying this is what it says, but it's also what it doesn't say, because it starts off in verse 2. This then is the line of Jacob, and just mentions Joseph.
Hmm.
And I think there's some thought that that is a signal also that Joseph was the favorite.
Okay, this is also an important information and a remarkable information also for our days. He was sitting there in Eretz Canaan, okay, from that time. And when you are sitting by Yeshev, it's not just he was sitting. He was the owner of the land.
He was relaxing it there. So sojourning.
And we can see also the generation, okay? He is going to be the owner and he's sitting in the same land of his father. וישב יעקב ארץ מגורי אביו, בארץ כנען. And we have this information. It's also relevant, this information, with all the conflicts for our time. Yes, we are sitting in that land for the time of our patriarchs and matriarchs. It's the same land that we are sitting nowadays. But here we can see, okay, he's sitting, he is the owner of the land. Who will be the next owner of the land? Okay, the continuation. Let's see. This is and if we have many brothers, all of them will be the owners, but perhaps one will be the head of this nation, or not just starting. And here we have the importance of the place, the importance of the family, and the importance of the dress, the kutonet pasim, will be the clothes will be very important, not just now, because later on, when the story continues, these clothes will be very, very important. Okay, and sometimes you receive. Try to imagine one thing. Okay, you have a father with many kids, but he gave a special gift to one, and what about the others? Now, through the psychology, we know that when you give a gift to one son, you need to give a gift to the other. We are now starting Hanukkah, and we are talking about Hanukkah gelt and presents and this and that. You are not just giving to one. You try to give to everyone to satisfy and to show that everybody, when you give a gift to everybody, you show that everybody is important, not just one. It's not more important than the other. Okay, but all this information, it's relevant for what we are going to study later. We are on verse 4. Let's continue.
One other thing I wanted to mention.
Yes.
That, yeah, maybe a parent has favorites one child over another, but you don't say it out loud. Which is just so Jacob shows poor judgment in giving him the coat, because it tells everybody else. That's my favorite. I mean, you're not supposed to say it out loud.
Yes. Yes.
All right, number 4. No, I did 4, yes.
Yes.
That's
Vayru
number
Echav.
4.
No,
Did you want to-
yes. Starting 4, please.
Once Joseph had a dream which he told to his brothers, and they hated him even more. And he said to them, "Hear this dream which I've dreamed. There we were, binding sheaves in the field, when suddenly my sheaf stood up and remained upright. Then your sheaves gathered around and bowed low to my sheaf." His brothers answered, "You mean to reign over us? You mean to rule over us?" And they hated him even more for his talk about his dreams.
And it was not enough. Now he's coming with the second dream. But we try to imagine. Try to. Sometimes there are some. Not in case of our Torah, but there are some image or pictures like or paintings. Yes, like a circle, and everybody is doing a reverence to who was in the middle. There are many. This is a biblical pictures, something like this. This gave to many people to develop their imagination with this situation. Okay, we are going now to the second dream.
He dreamed another dream and told it to his brothers, saying, Look, I had another dream. And this time the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars were bowing down to me. And when he told it to his father and brothers, his father berated him. What, he said to him, is this dream you have dreamed? Are we to come, I and your mother and your brothers, and bow low to you to the ground? So his brothers were wrought up at him, and his father kept the matter in mind.
Hmm.
Why 11 stars? That's significant.
The brothers, the number of brothers. Yes, they were 12.
Well,
Well,
Yes, yes. Okay, let's continue. Verse 12.
or Wendy, go ahead.
One time when his brothers had gone to pasture their father's flock at Shechem, Israel said to Joseph, Your brothers are pasturing at Shechem. Come, I will send you to them. He answered, I am ready. And he said to him, Go and see how your brothers are and how the flocks are faring, and bring me back word. So he sent them from the valley of Hebron. When he reached Shechem, a man came upon him wandering in the fields. The man asked him, What are you looking for? He answered, I am looking for my brothers. Could you tell me where they are pasturing? The man said, They have gone from here, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. So Joseph followed his brothers and found them at Dothan. They saw him from afar, and before he came close to them, they conspired to kill him. They said to one another, Here comes the dreamer. Come now, let us kill him and throw him in one of the pits. And we can
Yeah.
say a savage beast devoured him.
Look at that point that they arrive. Okay, how the hate can be terrific that brothers decide to kill one of them. Yes, how big was the hate between the brothers that they decided to kill Joseph, and and okay, they start with a bad relationship, but when he shared his dreams, became worse, and then they decide to kill. They were jealous. They saw what you mentioned, Jim. He will be the most important between us, and we will be perhaps like his slaves. We will be under his leadership, and also they can have dreams about what can happen in the future. Okay, one dream generate other, or we can call dream, we can call imagination. They can develop, okay, what will happen with us in the future. And many people think that perhaps killing other, they can find the solution of the problem, and this is not the solution. Okay, we enter in another problem. And can brothers be so cruel with
Hell
the?
yeah.
Yes, yes, you say yes, Alan. Yes, of course. And we see every day when we open the newspaper to read news, sometimes we see people from the same family who are killing brother, sister, mother, or father, and they are putting the body in the same home. Yes, it's something so sick. Till which point can go the imagination or the frustration about one specific situation? Everybody want to kill the Joseph? Yes, no? We will see this in the next verse. Please, let's continue the reading. We are in 19. Yes, 19 or 20.
They said to one another, Here comes that dreamer. Come now, let us kill him and throw him in one of the pits. And we can say a savage beast devoured him. We shall see what comes of his dreams. But when Reuben heard it, he tried to save him from them. He said, Let us not take his life. And Reuben went on, shed no blood, cast him into the pit, out in the wilderness, but do not touch him yourselves.
What do you think? Why Reuben have this idea not to kill? He was worried about whom?
God,
Joseph?
his father,
You see, you have many answers. All of them are right, but we need to consider that perhaps Reuben was thinking in Jacob. Why? If Joseph was the favorite son, and if they are going to kill Joseph, and Jacob was an old man, what can happen with Jacob? He can die. Okay, and they are going to lose the father. And perhaps Reuben saw that side of the history. And yes, and of course, that this will be one important point that Reuben considered when he gave his idea. Let's continue.
And Reuben went on, shed no blood, cast him into the pit out in the wilderness, but do not touch him yourselves, intending to save him from them and restore him to his father. When Joseph came up to his brothers, they stripped Joseph of his tunic, the ornamented tunic he was wearing, and took him and cast him into the pit. The pit was empty, there was no water in it. Then they sat down to a meal. Looking up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead, their camels bearing gum, balm, and ladanum to be taken to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, what do we gain by killing our brother and covering up his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, but let us not do away with him ourselves. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh.
Okay, just 1 minute. It's important that now the Ishmaelim appears again. Ishmaelim are coming for Ishmael. Okay, and also at the beginning of the story, do you remember Ishmael? It's also a brother, and he was rejected, but he's still part of the family. But now it's coming again, the Ishmaelim. It was a solution. Let's give to the Ishmaelim. Here we have also something that it's symbolic, that it's the whole. Then he's going down, but it's going down physically, but not physically. Also, the behavior of the brother was going down. Okay, sometimes we have this expression, and we need to compare with other stories. What does it means? The pit was empty. Okay, there was not water.
Yeah, and what is the point of saying there's no water in it? Is a question that's raised. And there is some thought that perhaps the brothers hadn't truly decided to kill Joseph. Had they thrown him into a pit that was filled with waters, he would have drowned fairly quickly.
Yes.
And since it didn't have water in it, it gave them time to reconsider.
Yes.
That's one thought. There's also thought that there may have been snakes and serpents.
Or they like to kill, but it was
Do it slow.
but they didn't like to kill, and this is the reason that was empty. Or what was really empty? They were empty of love to put him there. Yes, they are empty of feelings about this brother. Okay, what is empty? It's important, but they put in the pit. We remember. I remember always the story of Jonah. Okay, he was going down to Tarshish, and he came to the ship or boat. I don't know how. And then he was down to the sea. And then when he was in the sea, he was down inside the big fish, down, 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 always down, 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 down. And here we can see also Joseph had a dream and he see himself over the others, and now he's going down. They are putting him down. Okay. If he was in a pit, nobody can do reverence to him, and he is not being the center of the universe. And this is an important information, and also empty. Yes, this is I agree with you, Jim. This is an important information.
I mean, because it is said, right, that the Torah doesn't say things without purpose. I mean, if they don't just throw it in there for
fun.
fun.
No.
Water. Everything has meaning.
Yes, it's usual to have water in these places, but it is not water. Okay, it's a reason. Or we have there also a God message. God wants that Joseph will survive. Okay, there are some people that sometimes they receive a special blessing. They have problems, but they continue. Okay. This is the light of the superhero of the. He had many problems, but he continues. Okay, there are some movies that we watch, and the main character have many problems, but he continue. He continue. He is going till he keep his goal. Everything it's negative, and this is also an important message in our lives. Okay, sometimes everything can be negative around us. But we need to see some signals and some messages that perhaps are not clear, but there is a purpose.
And you just said something very important that throughout this parasha is, as opposed to others, there's no direct intervention of God. God did this, God did that. But in this, it's the hand of God, sort of, as you say, Joseph winds up in the pit, but God doesn't want Joseph to die. So it's the hand of God sort of manipulating the situation to get to an end point.
10 brothers said, let's kill. Just one brother said no. And they didn't follow the majority. They can 10 against 1. But but everybody agree with Reuben in the end. This is also a message. Okay, how it can be? You have 10 who would like to kill and 1 who said no, and everybody decided to do what
Well,
Reuben
they
decided.
put him in a pit until they made it further. They were delaying their decision.
Yes, or they didn't like to take the responsibility.
Maybe Reuben
Okay.
had some status among his brothers that they would listen to him more, perhaps.
He was Reuben the oldest?
Yes, he was the first one, the firstborn. Reuben. Okay, we have many. You see, it's very rich. Our parasha in symbolism, it's very rich. Every detail show us and give us. We can read a little bit here the commentaries to enrich our reading and our study. Let's go back to the beginning, to the bottom of page 244. The first verse and a half of the second form, literary bridge, they conclude the core of the Jacob story and provide an introduction to Joseph's cycle. And it's similar from Genesis chapter 2:4, which has a similar function in connecting the two creation stories. Verse 2, Joseph brought but reports he was a tale-bearer. Traditional commentator attempt to whitewash Joseph's behavior by saying that he merely did his job and reported what he saw.
It's a tattletale.
Exactly. He was a snitch. The tattletale. Yeah. It was reasons for his brothers even before the tunic to
To not like him.
not like it.
Yes, 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 yes. Let's continue on the point 3, verse 3. Do you like to read? Ornamented tunic, please.
The meaning is not clear. Others translate as a coat of many colors or a robe with sleeves. In 2 Samuel 13:18, the same term signifies special distinction, perhaps it marked those who did not have to work. Jacob's affection for Joseph most likely sprang from his love for Rachel, whose firstborn he was. Later, after Joseph's presumed death, Jacob's preference is transferred to Benjamin, Rachel's second son.
Yes. Okay, the little one. Remember Benjamin, son of the days of the time. Joseph had a dream. Please.
You want to
Go
read
ahead. Okay, Joseph had a dream, 6 dreams, 2 by Joseph, 2 by prisoners, and 2 by Pharaoh. Then suspense to the story. While dreams are now studied as keys to hidden layers of personality, they were formerly thought to be prophetic. An Egyptian manual of the time gives instructions on how to interpret such premonitory dreams.
Yep.
Now, where am I? 245.
it? Yeah.
Yes.
And
And this time.
this time. No,
Ah, sorry.
no,
No, point 11.
The man why? Because he believed that as a dream it revealed the future. From the valley of Hebron, Joseph will not return here, but hundreds of years later, his remains will reach Shechem once again. Talmud connects the passage of Genesis and following, which predict enslavement in a foreign land and return to Canaan after 400 years. Okay, done?
Okay. And then appears a man.
Nameless, suggests comparison with the nameless man who wrestled with Jacob.
This is other important information. Okay, a man. Who was that man?
You're out, Jim, or
Dothan, today's tell Dothan, north of Shechem, the city excavated 1953, dates back to 3000 BCE.
We are talking about real places, okay? Real scenarios. We can see, we can go to Shechem and we can discover where these stories happen. Ishmaelites. Later, the traders are called Medianites, Midian. Okay, and and this is also important to remember. They were from the same family, but they didn't have good relationship. Okay, the people of the region of Eretz Canaan, okay, they have better relationship with some people than the other. But my point of view that every big conflict starts as a family problem. Okay, this is the way that I understand the story. 20 pieces of silver, the redemption price for a 5 to 20 years old male. Okay, we didn't arrive to this part. Let's go back to the text. Let's see where we need to continue for verse 23, 24, yes? We were talking about the Ishmaelim. We can start.
25.
Okay.
Then they sat down to a meal. Looking up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead, their camels bearing gum, balm, and ladanum to be taken to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, "What do we gain by killing our brother and covering up his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites. Let us not do away with him ourselves. After all, he's our brother, our own flesh." His brothers agreed. When Midianite traders passed by, they pulled Joseph up out of the pit, they sold Joseph for 20 pieces of silver to the Ishmaelites, who brought Joseph to Egypt. You have Jim.
When Reuben returned to the pit and saw that Joseph was not in the pit, he rent his clothes. Returning to his brothers, he said, "The boy is gone. Now what am I to do?" Then they took Joseph's tunic, slaughtered a kid, and dipped the tunic in the blood. They had the ornamented tunic taken to their father, and they said, "We found
Yes.
this. Oh, we found this, yeah. Please examine it. It is your son's tunic or not." He recognized it and said, "My son's tunic. A savage beast devoured him. Joseph was torn by a beast." Jacob rent his clothes, put sackcloth on his loins, and observed mourning for his son many days. All his sons and daughters sought to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted, saying, "No, I will go down mourning to my son in Sheol." Thus his father bewailed him. The Midianites, meanwhile, sold him into Egypt to Potiphar, portier of Pharaoh and his chief steward.
Okay, just a minute. We have here, as I mentioned before, the dress was very important. It's coming back now with blood. We have here other important things. The Torah, the Torah, it's not a book that show us feelings. It's not very common to read about feelings in the Torah, but we have here that when Yaakov listened the story that his son died, he was crying. Okay, it's not very common to see feelings or to read about feelings, but they show us how important, and also a Jewish tradition that we follow in our days. It's the traditions about the mourners. Okay, here don't have exactly, but he was a mourner for no, Yamim Rabim. He was a mourner for many days. Okay, we can see that this tradition is coming from our ancestors. This is not something that it's coming from the rabbis. Yes, it's coming from the biblical times, the Shiva, the Shloishim. Okay, this idea, the idea to mourn during 30 days, Yamim Rabim. In this case, we don't have exactly, but in other case, he was crying his wife or the people, the entire people. Yes, and we can see also in the time of the desert that they didn't move the camp from one place to the other sometimes because they were in a Shoshim time, and they crying for 30 days. And nowadays we continue with this tradition. Life can be normal if you lose a loved one, and this is what we can see. It was important to remember. Nehama appears here on verse 35. Let's see how they translate. And he's go down mourning to my son in Sheol. Thus his father bewailed him. And here we see that the solution, instead to kill by themselves, okay, they sold the brother. We are not going to do the bad job. Let's do the other. Do the bad job. We were in a time without any communication. Okay, if they sold the brother, who is going to say to Jacob where is the son? How Jacob can discover? Nowadays, in something like this happen, what can be our reaction? A similar story like this.
Well, you have an investigation by the police.
I go to the police. I go to the police and say, okay, chief police, yes, where is my son? Can you see? Can you look for? But this is the reason that I say always when we are studying this text, we need to understand and we need to put our minds that we are in a different time. Okay? They saw it was impossible to have any information. The person is going to disappear. He's going from one people to the other people. They can sell to others. They can kill by themselves. You don't know. You don't have any information. But here, the important information is what is written in verse 36. Finally, he arrived to Egypt, and he arrived to Potiphar, and Potiphar will become an important name in this story. Okay, because on jail, Joseph will be very important, and his name will be spread in Egypt. And he had something that others don't have. He had the capacity to interpret dreams, and he will be very famous for this. Okay, and this, once again, I going back to your interpretation, Jim. God don't appear in this story, but we know that he was under. Okay, it was a fortuitous story that he arrives to Potiphar, and then he's going to interpret it, and then his name is going to arrive to the court, and everybody will know. And who had the big problem was the Pharaoh, okay, the main authority, who needs someone to help him, and was this Jewish guy who was in the pit, who is going to resolve and to find the solution. Okay, and sometimes we can see, and this is real, perhaps someone who is very simple, who nobody consider, this person will become the most important person in the story. Okay, and sometimes happen. Okay, and we have many companies, and we have many stories, big corporations. Who is the owner? Perhaps a very simple person who gave an idea, or who saw, or who interpreted this and that. There are many stories, many stories about simple person, employees who gave an idea, nobody considered them, and later on they became the owners of big corporation, or they found solutions that nobody can find. Okay, you see that in the text, okay, it's coming, and now we have a story inside the story. This is very I studied, of course, the parasha many times, and you can see here like it's a cut. They introduce this story of Tamar, and then later on we'll continue. We are going back to the main story. And here we have a story, the story of Tamar. It's a complete unit that tells of various old traditions in myriad meticulous details. It's likely that we have here not only a personal vignette, but also a tale of wider implications. Judah is represented as an individual, but he's also the ancestor of the Davidic line. This interlude interrupts the story of Joseph at that point of raising suspense. It covers many years and thus allows the Bible to take up the tale of Joseph again after the boy has grown into manhood. Okay, it's a story inside the story. Let's see, let's remember the story of Tamar. We are on page 250. We are on Genesis chapter 38. Jason, do you like to read? Are you there with the Torah? Do you like to participate? And if you have the Torah, just open your mic and read.
Yes. We're
Please.
starting with Tamar.
Yes, about that time Judah left.
About that time, Judah left his brothers and camped near a certain Adullamite whose name was Hirah. There Judah saw the daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua, and he married her and cohabitated with her. She conceived and bore a son, and he named him She conceived again and bore a son and named him Onan. Once again she bore a son and named him Shelah. He was at Chezib when she bore him. Judah got a wife for his firstborn. Her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was displeasing to the Lord, and the Lord took his life. Then Judah said to Onan, join with your brother's wife, and do your duty by her as a brother-in-law, and provide offspring for your brother. But Onan, knowing that the seed would not count as his, let it go to waste whenever he joined with his brother's wife, so as not to provide offspring for his brother. What he did was displeasing to the Lord, and he took his life also. When Judah said to his daughter-in-law Tamar, stay as a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah grows up, for he thought he too might die like his brothers. So Tamar went to live in her father's house. A long time afterward, Shua's daughter and wife of Judah died. When his period of mourning was over, Judah went up to Timnah to his sheep shearers, together with his friend Hirah and Adullamite. And Tamar was told, your father-in-law is coming to Timnah for the sheep shearing. So she took off her widow's garb, covered her face with a veil, and, wrapping herself up, sat down at the entrance to Anim, which is on the road to Timnah. For she saw that Shelah was grown up, yet she had not been given to him as wife. When Judah saw her, he took her for a harlot, for she had covered her face. So he turned aside to her by the road and said, here, let me sleep with you. For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. What she asked, will you pay for sleeping with me? He replied, I will send a kid from my flock. But she said, you must leave a pledge until you have sent it. And he said, what pledge shall I give you? She replied, your seal and cord and the staff which you carry. So he gave them to her and slept with her, and she conceived by him. Then she went on her way. She took off her veil and again put on her widow's garb. Judah sent the kid by his friend the Adullamite to redeem the pledge from the woman, but he could not find her. He inquired of the people of that town, where is the cult prostitute, the one at Enaim by the road? But they said, there has been no prostitute here. So he returned to Judah and said, I could not find her. Moreover, the townspeople said, there has been no prostitute here. Judah said, let her keep them lest we become a laughingstock. I did send her this kid, but you did not find her. About 3 months later, Judah was told, your daughter-in-law Tamar has played the harlot. In fact, she is with child by harlotry. Bring her out, said Judah, and let her be burned. As she was being brought out, she sent this message to her father-in-law, I am with child by the man to whom these belong. And she added, examine these, whose seal and cord and staff are these. Judah recognized them and said, she is more in the right than I, inasmuch as I did not give her to my son Shelah. And he was not intimate with her again. When the time came for her to give birth, there were twins in her womb. While she was in labor, one of them put out his hand, and the midwife tied a crimson thread on that hand to signify this one came out first. But just then he drew back his hand, and out came his brother, and she said, what a breach you have made for yourself. So he was named Perez. And afterward his brother came out, on whose hand was the crimson thread. He was named Zerah.
Okay. Here we have a story, and we have more than one similar story also in the Torah. Do you remember a similar situation between a man?
Jacob. Mhm.
No, but
He married the wrong person.
but they do you remember the story of the daughters of Noah, of Noé? Yes, sometimes yes, they think that there's no other man, and then cohabitate with the father-in-law. Yes, we have this similar situation more than one time. They are forbidden this kind of sexual relationship. Yes, but here nobody he Tamar came, and we have here a situation. And from this story, we have a word that I'm thinking that in English also you have in the dictionary. In Spanish we have onanism. Okay, it's coming from this story. And we have also another law that we call the levirate law, that when someone is died in the family, the next one who must be the husband, it's the brother. And here they reject. And the question is, why do you think that Onan reject to be the husband, Tamar's husband? Why was the main problem here?
She already had a kid.
Wanted,
He said he wouldn't get credit for being a mother.
didn't want to die.
Sorry?
Didn't want to die.
It's one of the reason it's the heritage. Okay, if you are taking your let's say in that way the wife of your brother, and you have kids with her, and you have your own kids, you will need in the future to divide your heritage. If you don't take, it will be less problematic. You are not going to divide the heritage. And here we see that many people disappear from this story. They were against, they were killed. And we arrive to the story. Tamar was very smart. What did she ask? She protect herself to be killed. Okay, she had the proof, the ring. Okay, look, this is the belongs of the.
This is the father.
This is the father. Okay.
But it's odd to me that like he didn't recognize Tamar. I see people at 20, 30-year reunions. Maybe I barely recognize them, but the way they talk, and I recognize their voice. He didn't realize that was her.
But it was night. Do you remember the story of Ruth? Ruth is the story of Ruth, once again. Boaz, the story of Ruth and Boaz. Do you remember? He entered to the tent, it was the night, he didn't see, they touched.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Yes, the same, yes. They touched, but they didn't see, it was night, it was not a light to turn on. Okay.
How would hold up in court?
Okay. But it's also this kind of stories who are coming back. Judah used the term rather than harlot to give the relationship a somewhat more acceptable status. Ritual prostitutes participate in fertility cults in many ancient countries. Yes, we have a story. Of course, you can ask. They didn't recognize this and that. Okay, it's also a symbolic reserve, but the main reason, okay, they were worried about continuation. And remember that it's very important. They are going to they have right to have a piece of land if they have kids, children. If they don't have children, they will be part of the family or the people without any right. If they have kids, they will have right to have a piece of land. If not, and this is the importance to have kids in that time, okay, to be the owner and the right of the property, let's see, or the right of the land. If you have a kid, if you don't have a kid, you don't have any right. Okay, then we return to Egypt and we return to Joseph. Here it's yes, as I mentioned, the law of the levirate, that the older brother have the obligation to become the husband. Okay, and it was a tradition that the woman can reject, yes, from a shoe. Okay, this is something that happened in many countries till our days, especially in the Arab countries, the levirate law. Okay, I am here on page 254. Do you like to read the levirate, Wendy?
In earlier ages, the duty of a man to marry the widow of his brother could probably not be evaded. Such an obligatory union was called yibum in Jewish legal tradition. In later times, the brother could refuse yibum by making a public declaration to this effect through the ceremony of chalitza. Still later, chalitza became mandatory and yibum was frowned upon, which is essentially the position of Jewish law today. In fact, the chief rabbinate of the state of Israel issued a decree to Kana in 1950 prohibiting yibum and making chalitza obligatory. The court may, under certain circumstances, compel the levir to grant chalitza.
Yes, we can see that this became an important issue on the state of Israel. Yes, decided in 1950. Yes, just in 1950, and this is coming from the time of our ancestor. Nowadays, it's not anymore a tradition. Yes, you need to get married with the widow of your brother. But we still have many problems when the woman became widow and and the man didn't, or some points. What about her status? Can he get married again or not? There are many law problems about this kind of stories till our days, because the status of the woman, and this is real problems that we need to consider. For one side, the law, the modern law of the state of Israel, and how it's involved with religion. Okay, and sometimes it's difficult to distinguish between the modern law of the state of Israel and religion, because in certain cycles they still follow this tradition. Let's return. We have a couple of minutes. Let's return to the story of Joseph on page 257. And now we go back to Potiphar, that appears he was mentioned at the end of the original story. Who was Potiphar, and how Joseph, let's say in that way, became famous in Egypt. Let's read on page 257. Alan, do you like to read?
Sure, when Joseph was taken down to Egypt, a certain Egyptian, Potiphar, courtier of Pharaoh, and his chief steward bought him from the Ishmaelites who had brought him there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he was a successful man, and he stayed in the house of his Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord lent success to everything he undertook, he took a liking to Joseph. He made him his personal attendant, put him in charge of his household, placing in his hands all that he owned. And from that time that the Egyptian put him in charge of his household and all that he owned, and the Lord blessed his house for Joseph's sakes, and so that the blessing of the Lord was upon everything he owned in the house and outside.
We have here now the name of the Lord appears, and they recognize that it's not a simple man. Everything that he's doing, he succeeds. Okay, let's respect this man because this man have the God blessing. Please continue.
All that he had in Joseph's hands and with him there, he paid attention to nothing, save the food that he ate. Now Joseph was well built and handsome. Keep going, Jim.
Yes. After a time, his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph and said, "Lie with me." But he refused. He said to his master's wife, "Look, with me here, my master gives no thought to anything in this house, and all that he owns he has placed in my hands. He wields no more authority in this house than I, and he has withheld nothing from me except yourself, since you are his wife. How then could I do this most wicked thing and sin before God?" And much as she coaxed Joseph day after day, he did not yield to her request to lie beside her. One such day he came into the house to do his work, none of the household being there inside. She caught hold of him by his coat and said, "Lie with me." But he left his coat in her hand and got away and fled outside. When she saw that he had left his coat in her hand and fled outside, she called out to her servant and said to them, "Look, he had to bring us a Hebrew to dally with us. This one came to lie with me, but I screamed loud. And when he heard me screaming at the top of my voice, he left his coat with me and got away and fled outside." She kept his coat beside her until his master came home. Then she told him the same story, saying, "The Hebrew slave whom you brought into our house came to me to dally with me. But when I screamed at the top of my voice, he left his coat with me and fled outside."
One important thing to consider, one more time, a dress, it's central in the story. Okay, we listened before the story of the dress, the coat, and that coat that arrived to Jacob, they put blood. Now we are listening here the story of the coat. Okay, look how important became this element in Joseph's story, in favor and against him. But now it's coming, yes, Eshet Potiphar, the wife of Potiphar, she's lying. But this will affect Joseph's life. Please continue. And he was a slave, and he was, yes, the Hebrew slave. Hebrew slave. He's not part of us. Okay, Hebrew slave, and this is important. He's not one of us, and he came here, and now he would like to bother Potiphar's wife. Okay, he's a slave. He's coming. Let's give him what he deserves. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to interject something that I had read regarding this situation. There is some question of how Mrs. Potiphar got hold of his tunic. How did he, if he was so, I would do such a thing, how could she get so close to him and remove? So there's some thought that he was tempted and he was thinking about lying with her. And there's a trope in this portion is only used 3 times in Genesis, shall shell it,
Yes.
when he refuses, and I don't know that I've ever used that, had the opportunity to chant that trope, but it's a tremulous. It's only used 3 times. I forget the 3 times that it's used, but it signifies how he came to, no, I'm not going to do this, even though he hasn't thought about doing it. Because she probably was a good-looking woman. So
Good point. Good point. But it's curious, this story, but the consequence will be important because it will be a way how Joseph is arriving to other position, other places, and he's going to be in jail. Okay, in jail, it's like one more time he's going down, 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 and we talk about the pit. Now we are going to see, and from the darkness he's going to the light. From his anonymatus, who will become how life change quickly. Yes, we call, and it's very nice. Sometimes there are many stories. How we call that you can see this in the parks. It's like a wheel. I don't remember now. We say la vuelta al mundo. It's
we'll turn.
yes, it's an attraction that you can see in the parks. In the parks, yes.
treadmill?
The like
the Ferris.
no, the like the London Eye. How you call this? The London Eye.
Ferris wheel.
The Ferris wheel.
Okay, what happened with this? You can be in the top, or you can be yes, and shows the Joseph lives. You can be in the top, or you can be at the bottom, and everything can change very, very quickly. Okay, Joseph had a dream. He was in the top. He was the leader. Okay, he went to the bottom, and now he's going to back to the top. And life sometimes take us to the same positions. Okay, let's continue. We were in
Verse 19.
19, yes. ויהי כשמו אדוני.
When his master heard the story that his wife told him, namely, thus and so your slave did to me, he was furious. So Joseph's master had him put in prison where the king's prisoners were confined. But even while he was there in prison, the Lord was with Joseph. He extended kindness to him and disposed the chief jailer favorably toward him. The chief jailer put in Joseph's charge all the prisoners who were in that prison, and he was the one to carry out everything that was done there. The chief jailer did not supervise anything that was in Joseph's charge, because the Lord was with him, and whatever he did, the Lord made successful. Some time later, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt gave offense to their lord, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his 2 courtiers, the chief cupbearer and chief baker, and put them in custody in the house of the chief steward, in the same prison house where Joseph was confined. The chief steward assigned Joseph to them, and he attended them. When they had been in custody for some time, both of them, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were confined in the prison, dreamed in the same night, each his own dream, and each dream with his own meaning. When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw they were distraught. He asked Pharaoh's courtiers who were with him in custody in his master's house, saying, "Why do you appear downcast today?" And they said to him, "We had dreams, and there's no one to interpret them." But Joseph said to them, "Surely God can interpret. Tell me your dreams." And the chief cupbearer told his dream to Joseph. He said to him, "In my dream there was a vine in front of me. On the vine were 3 branches. It had barely budded when it came out, its blossoms and its clusters ripened into grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand." Joseph said to him, "This is its interpretation. The 3 branches are 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh will pardon you and restore you to your post. You place Pharaoh's cup in his hand, as was your custom formerly when you were his cupbearer. But think of me when all is well with you again, and do me the kindness of mentioning me to Pharaoh, so as to free me from this place. For in truth I was kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews, nor have I done anything here that they should have put me in the dungeons. When the chief baker saw how favorably he had interpreted, he said to Joseph, in my dream, similarly, there were 3 open work baskets on my head. In the uppermost basket were all kinds of food for Pharaoh that a baker prepares, and the birds were eating it out of the basket above my head. Joseph answered, this is the interpretation. The 3 baskets are 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off your head and impale you upon a pole, and the birds will pick off your flesh. Like,
Oi, oi, oi.
on the 3rd day, his birthday, Pharaoh made a banquet for all his officials, and he singled out his chief cupbearer and his chief baker from among his officials. He restored the chief cupbearer to his cupbearing, and he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. With chief baker he impaled, just as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet the chief cupbearer did not think of Joseph; he forgot him.
Okay. We are going. Here is the end of the parasha. The parasha start with the dream and finish with dreams, and we can see the central position of Joseph. The big difference between the beginning of the parasha and the end of the parasha, Joseph continued to do what he did, but now he's a slave. Okay. At the beginning of the parasha, he interpreted his own dream, but he was a free man. His completely life changed. Okay. Now he's a slave, but he continued to keep his ability to interpret dreams, and he was recognized as a blessed guy by God, and he had some reputation also if he was on jail. And we know, yes, what will happen later, but we need to see that no matter if he was free or he was a prisoner, he keep his prestige about interpretation of dreams. And if God is with you, He will with you when you are free or when we are a slave, independent of your status. If you are a person who believes in God, then God will be with you any place, anytime. And this is also a message from this parasha.
But I think that's really one of the biggest takeaways is that, and the Torah goes out of its way to say again and again, the Lord was with him. And because people, when things are good, but then if they continue to be good, we forget to whom, our blessings are from. And when things are bad, it's like, so, but I think it's always important to remember that if you're going to have faith in God, that God is with you in good times, God is with you in bad times.
And I'm thinking that this is the message of this parasha, of this Torah portion. Yes, you summarize in a great way. Yes, good is with us. If we believe, He will be always. Yes, the problem is when the people request God just in bad times.
Yeah.
Okay, and to establish a connection in bad time takes more work than if you keep the connection the entire time. I say the symbolically the word connection, but if you believe, if you trust, and this is also we talk here in this space many times. Okay, God will be close to you if you are close to Him. It's not a mystery. And sometimes the people request God, like they call the red phone. Yes, they pick up the red phone for a direct call, And perhaps in the other side of the line, there is no one who answer.
You have to wonder when the baseball player hits the home run, runs around the bases, and they get the home plate and they look up, they do whatever. What are they thinking when they strike out? What are they thinking? That's the message should be, God is still with you.
Exactly. I would like to thank each one of you for coming, for studying, for sharing your thoughts, your knowledge.
Thank you also, you must be horribly jet lagged, but you're still here.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. We have 8 hours different between
It's 8 o'clock at night.
No, but I prefer not to think what time is there. Thank you, all of you who participate online. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Remember, I would like to invite all of you. We will have a special Shabbat commemoration with the TV band, and bring your own Hanukkah next Friday night. We are going to start with the pizza. Okay, at 6 p.m. will be some pizza, and then we are going to light the Chanukiyot. We are going to have a special Shabbat with the TV band, and then a special Oneg with Sufganiyot and latkes.
You
And
want those after?
I don't know, after and before and after. What we
Susan.
It's
What-
always a good time to eat a lot.
we are going to eat latkes. We are.
So,
Yeah.
What about Thursday? Do I need to RSVP? I guess Singer is speaking.
And Rabbi Singer, it's going to talk on Thursday. I invite her to talk about her experience in the West Bank. She's going to show some pictures. They had really very big problems with the settlements. They came, they put in risk their lives. Some rabbis were hurt by a drone. From a settlement drones, and he's going to give us what's going on in the West Bank. We will start with some, because in this season we used to eat meals with oil, and then I said, okay, what we can eat, something different than latkes, and I decided to order some falafel. Okay, some falafel, pita, hummus. We 6 p.m. and then at 7 we'll start
Do we need to RSVP?
yes.
I'd call the temple office.
Okay, perfect. Just to have an idea, the food that we need to order. This activity will be supported.
I hate to hear that.
Okay.
Israel,
Thank you very much.
people they hate
Shabbat
people.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you for being there.
Thank you.
Damn. It's very disappointing. Geez, I was just human.
All right. Just that.
Yeah.